Don't miss out. Hit like, share, and subscribe right now.
Whispers from the Old Abandoned Blackwood Asylum. The Old Blackwood Asylum had been waiting. Not for years, not for decades. Longer. So long that even the forest knew to keep its distance. At the edge of Blackwood Forest, the building sagged like an old man with a broken back. Stone shoulders hunched, roofline bent, windows black and empty like sockets with no eyes. The iron gates had been locked for nearly a half-century, vines coiling through the bars, green veins wrapped around black steel. People said Blackwood was an evil place, a dead zone. But Sarah would come to understand something different. Some places don't die. They just endure and wait for someone foolish enough.
Blackwood opened in 1907, born from optimism, reform. The Springfield papers called it a house of healing, a refuge for the troubled, a cure for the broken. But Sarah had always been a reader of footnotes, the one who dug deeper while David cracked wise into the camera. She'd found the records, grainy black and white photos of gaunt men strapped into hydrotherapy tanks, nurses with eyes like jailers, a doctor named Wexler who smiled wide in every photo like he had a secret. Hydrotherapy, tanks of ice water so cold the screens froze to whispers. Insulin shock so violent teeth shattered and tongues bled. And lobotomies, always the lobotomies, done with the calm, steady hand of a carpenter hammering nails. By the 1950s, the asylum bulged with patients, and it starved.
Some were lost, swallowed. Staff quit. Those who didn't end up hanging in offices or drowned in empty tubs or vanished like drops of blood soaking into stone. By the 70s, the town sealed it up. But Sarah knew, you can't board up something that feasts. That was what drew her there one October night, or maybe what pulled.
They weren't kids on a dare, not drunks with flashlights. They were explorers, documentarians if you squinted. Their channel, Haunted Hunters, was clawing its way up YouTube's endless throat. Abandoned malls, churches eaten by mildew, rat-soaked houses that smelled like the grave. David was the face, the voice, the joker with the grin. Sarah was the lens, the quiet one, the one who listened. But Sarah had always suspected people weren't tuning in for the buildings. They tuned in for the contrast. David's swagger, Sarah's wide-eyed silence, fire and water. He made danger entertaining. She made fear real. It worked until Blackwood. David killed the headlights at the gate. The forest pressed in on all sides, thick and watching. No crickets, no wind, just the hush you hear when a crowd falls silent before something terrible happens. David turned toward the camera, his grin stretched tight. The red record light painted his pupils hellfire red. Here it is, folks, Blackwood Asylum, the most haunted place in the state. Nobody goes inside. Tonight, we're going inside. Sarah's hands twisted in her lap, knuckles pale. She stared up at the asylum's jagged outline against the October sky, a bruise spreading across the horizon.
Her whisper barely left her lips. "I don't think we should be here." David laughed. Too loud. His chuckle bounced off the glass and died quick. "Don't tell me you're spooked already." She looked at him. Really looked. His grin wasn't confidence. It was armor. And if David was afraid, what the hell did that mean about the place?
The doors groaned wide, and Sarah swore the air sighed out like a held breath, finally exhaled. Inside, it was wrong. Not just stale, heavy, like the dark itself had weight pressing close to their skin. Their flashlights carved pale tunnels, but the black seemed to bend around the beams like water closing over a blade. Graffiti scrawled across the walls. Not tags, not names. You're in danger. Don't listen. He's still here. In the middle of a corridor, a wheelchair sat waiting, rusted, dust-choked. And yet, as Sarah passed, one wheel squealed faintly, as if lungs wheezed one last rattling breath. Her EMF reader spiked, the spirit box hissed, then voices, not one, many.
Leave now. The pain won't stop. Please, please get out.
Her hands shook. They didn't sound like warnings. They sounded like begging. And David, for once, didn't laugh.
The deeper they went, the more the asylum seemed to rearrange itself. Corridors stretched longer, walls coughed up new doors where there hadn't been any. Stairwells spiraled into bricked-off walls. Sarah thought. No, she knew. She saw plaster bloom into a doorway as her light swept over it. David raised the camera, voice thin. This place is a maze. No wonder people got lost. But Sarah noticed. He stayed half a step behind her now. At the children's ward, the murals still lingered. Clowns, rabbits, balloons. But the paint had rotted into corpse colors, sallow yellows, putrid greens. Beneath one rusted bed frame, shoes, small, paired neatly, waiting. Her chest cinched. They look new, David. They look. But he wasn't looking at the shoes. He was staring at her, his face pale. Do you hear that? And then she did. Weeping. Thin, strangled, faint as breath behind a door. David forced his voice loud for the camera. Pipes, just pipes. But Sarah thought, 50 years, no water. Pipes don't cry.
Behind a collapsed wall, they found a stairwell. Door rusted, half open. Beside it, words carved deep as wounds. Turn back now. David's grin cracked on his face like old paint. Guess that's our invitation. The basement smelled of smoke, iron, blood. Their lights swept, restraint chairs, leather straps supple as though oiled, hydrotherapy tubs full of clear water, rippling though the air was still. Trays of scalpels shining bright like someone had polished them that morning. Sarah whispered, "None of this should be here." The spirit box shrieked. And then a voice, metallic, inhuman. "The doctor will see you now." The lights guttered. Something scraped across the floor.
The operating theater bloomed around them. A gurney waited beneath a swaying lamp. The lamp flared white-hot. The spirit box erupted. Not one voice, but hundreds, shrieking, overlapping, tearing at the air. Figures lined the corners, faceless, patient gowns stained black. Their mouths gaped, not screams, but a single rush of air, as if 1,000 drowned lungs exhaled at once. The gurney shrieked forward. David roared. The camera tilted, catching only his legs as the doors slammed shut like a coffin. Sarah, run. Then something else. Sarah spun back once, just once, and saw it. Smoke boiling from the floor. Black tendrils unfurling, slick and wet. Octopus arms of shadow lashing up from the tiles. They wrapped David's legs, his arms, his chest. He screamed. Not his YouTube voice, not the jokester, but a raw, terrified child scream.
The tendrils pulled. The floor cracked open beneath them. No, not cracked, opened. A hole, black and endless, sucking in the light. David's face stretched in horror, eyes wide, teeth clenched before the smoke swallowed him whole. The floor sealed, flat, empty. David was gone.
Sarah ran. Corridors stretched on, multiplying. Every turn she took only fed her deeper into the maze. And behind her, footsteps. Never running, never rushing, just walking, always a half beat behind. The asylum whispered her name. Her name. At last, she stumbled into a hallway that wasn't hers. Doors on either side, all of them yawning open. And at the far end, him. Tall, thin, too thin, faceless, but not blank. His head was smooth, stretched pale like wax, as though a face had been peeled away. He didn't walk, he drifted, his limbs too long, too jointed, moving wrong. One arm rose, reaching. Sarah screamed, dropped the camera. Its night vision caught her one last time, face hollow, eyes wide. The faceless man reached her. His long fingers hooked her shoulders. He pulled her backwards into a room that should not have existed. Just darkness, pure and endless, swallowing her whole.
At dawn, they found her outside the gates. Clothes torn, hair tangled, eyes hollow. She spoke only one thing, again and again, until her throat shredded to blood. The doctor will see you now. The doctor will see you now. David was never found. Some say the asylum has him still, his camera running, filming nothing but shadows that breathe. And Blackwood waits, rotting at the forest's edge, waiting for the next patient, the next scream. Because like all good doctors, it always makes room for one more.
Fractured mind, a place where reality cracks